And I started really just using some common sense with some of this stuff and realizing that this is not the way anybody should have to live their life.
How's it going, guys? I'm Steve. I'm here with a different kind of video today. We'll be doing an interview. I'm going to introduce our special guest, Connie. She is a psychic medium. And yeah, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Do you want me to remove him?
Yeah.
Shoot him, kill him? No.
Bad dog. Bad. Damn it! And who got candy cane all over the couch?
Put him in the bathroom? No, because that's going to affect it. No, that's enough.
So yeah, just kind of tell us a little bit about your life story, like where you were born.
Oh yes, certainly. I was born in Sarnia, Ontario, a long time ago, 1949. Baby boomer to the core. When I was little, I had an imaginary playmate, and a lot of people do when they're tiny. They have these imaginary playmates.
Sure.
And my imaginary playmate was named Strinjo. And my parents told me about it because I really don't remember Strinjo. But I would make food for Strinjo, and I would tell people you can't sit there because Strinjo was sitting there. I found out later on that kids who have imaginary playmates are very often dealing with someone in spirit at that time. They're like spirit guides that are helping kids get through their early years. I think there was a movie with Robert Downey Jr. years ago where there were 7 spirit guides that walk like a man. That was the name of the movie. Walk Like a Man. Robert Downey Jr. It's an oldie but goodie. Then after that, in my teenage years, I did all the United Church things. I was an explorer. I was in CGIT. I was boy crazy, just the way every normal teenager would have been in that time. And it wasn't until I got to university that I always thought it was different, didn't quite fit in anywhere.
Yeah.
And at university, at Western Ontario, which is how I got to London,
Okay.
I went to a party, and I went back as a mature student. So I was like 21, and these kids were all 18. So any parties I went to with my roommates were really boring. And one day I just thought, I'm going to read some poems. And I started reading poems, and I have no knowledge of what the lines mean.
Yeah.
But I looked at the poem, and I held the hand, and I felt the energy coming from that person into my head. So I was able to tell them about their lifestyle, about their career, about their sensitivities, and I was pretty good at it. I was 22 when I started doing that.
Okay.
And then I got into a born-again Christian thing because my mother passed away when I was 24. And did the whole Bible class and read the Bible back to front, and the Good News Bible, and that's King James version of the Bible. So I really thought I was really into this Christianity. But my life didn't go the way I thought it should be going with the God that the Bible tells us about. And I got into Wicca, or did a lot of research into witchcraft and Wicca. Bought a lot of books, Scott Cunningham, some of the other ones naturally because you're allergic. No, go away.
They all love me here.
I was into Wicca, and I really started realizing that the God of my father was not my God.
Okay.
And I thought the ancient ways have to be revised. And I went through a guided meditation one night at a friend's house. Friend from like 38 years earlier. And we got back in contact, and I went to her house, and she did a guided meditation. She worked for the Archdiocese here in London, so she was like a serious Catholic.
Yeah.
And she said, we're going on a meditation to find your monk. And I said, oh, is that like a spirit guide? She said, no, it's your monk. Okay. So that was when, after that meditation, through that meditation, I realized I had to learn more about the ancient ways. Because in my heart, organized religion was stifling and keeping low a lot of people in the world.
Yeah.
Because they're just never getting the insight.
Okay.
I spent 5 weeks in Greece, which you understand.
Yeah.
That was later in my life. The Greek church would tell the women, and in the Greek villages, women didn't work. They were the housewives, right?
Yep.
So in the village of Anavra, the Greek women would be told by their priests, you can't eat meat for 2 weeks. And they would do it. They would literally make meat for the men, for the kids in the house, but the women wouldn't eat meat. Now, I don't know if it's just because I'm tenacious and had a bit of an education, but I thought this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, that somebody would tell somebody not to eat meat.
Yeah.
They used to tell the Catholics you couldn't eat meat on Friday, so they all ate fish. And I started really just using some common sense with some of this stuff and realizing that this is not the way anybody should have to live their life.
Yeah.
I think COVID has taught us that there's a lot more ignorant people in the world than we thought.
That's it.
I didn't want to use the stupid word, because they're not stupid. They're just not learned.
Misinformed.
Yes, misinformed and too uneducated to formulate a way of thinking around that. They're just dull. So after a while with this Wicca, I had a couple of goddess parties. They were fun because I thought women really needed to get in touch with the ancient ways, the goddesses, the Aphrodites, the Isis, shouldn't say Isis, should I? Because that's like but there was a goddess named Isis. Not the Iranian militant group, but I wanted...
Egyptian god, right? Egyptian god?
Sorry?
Isis?
She was an Egyptian goddess,
Okay,
yes. There were Celtic gods. Coventina was the goddess of the rivers and lakes in Great Britain. So my research led me to think, okay, let's have a dress-up goddess party. And the women had a great deal. The first one, I had 21 women here, ranging in age from 19 to 61. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So along about that time, I found out about the London Spiritualist Church. And I went. And the first time I went with my neighbor, we couldn't find it. So, and we were a little nervous about going there, right?
Yeah.
But we finally found it because it's on Rector Street, which is not one of the greatest parts of town.
Mm-hmm.
And it was held in the Oddfellows Hall, which apparently is a really old group. I didn't really learn too much about it, but when we walked in, they had these huge ornate chairs carved, and they had white like protectors on them. And the speaker was Reverend Lynn Welsh, and she talked about Jesus being the master teacher, as was Buddha, as was Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that had a major impact on what was happening in the day, they're teachers. So, and I could resonate with that. I could understand that. And then she gave some messages that I thought were I was just in shock, in absolute shock. And she read the 7 principles. I think I've got those around here somewhere too. But they believe in the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, communion with spirit, and the ministry of angels. Personal responsibility, so nobody's going to grant you absolution if you do things that aren't necessarily good. Let me think about some of the other ones. Oh, eternal progress open to every soul. Did I miss one? I think I'm missing one. But it was very low key, and at that time, the people who ran the church didn't want to get involved with the National Spiritualist Church of Canada. And I could understand why, because this was very folksy. It was just people coming in, and I started taking classes. I started walking down the street at lunchtime. I worked downtown, and I would send my energy to somebody else who was walking by. And I would think, okay, that person is worried about somebody who's in the hospital. And I was coming up with, like, imagining how their energies were.
Yeah.
And the first class I took, it was huge. And I sat across from a young man who had come from Woodstock, I think. We were supposed to meditate. I'm a Sagittarian. So we sat there, and I'm thinking, okay, what am I supposed to feel? What am I supposed to do? And I'm looking around this big group, and so afterwards, I was getting a sore rear end, and I was trying to breathe, and I was just bored, right?
Yeah.
So, but while I was looking around at people, I honed in on this young man from Woodstock. So after the meditation was over, she said, is there anybody that has any messages for anyone? And I put my hand up. And she said, you weren't even meditating. I said, I know, I can't have difficulty meditating. I said, but I think I have a message for this young man across the way from me. I said, do you have a brother in spirit? Now this guy was maybe 30. And I'm thinking, this is your imagination, do you have a brother in spirit? He said, yes, I do. So right there, my heart started pounding, and I thought, oh my goodness. I said, well, he's coming to me and he's telling me that you're not using appropriate safety equipment. Now, I don't know if it's on the job or in a game, a sport that you play, but he's definitely telling me that you're not using the right safety equipment, and he wants you to start using the right stuff.
Yeah.
So everybody was in shock and awe when I said that, but I was so ticked off that I didn't go back the next week. But apparently the young man was there and said he was on his way home, and it occurred to him he wasn't wearing a seatbelt because he was from the East Coast and it wasn't legal. You didn't have to wear a seatbelt then. So, and he had the aha moment. That's what his brother was trying to say. You have to use a seatbelt. So he told everybody else in the class, and I missed it. But from then I realized that I could actually do this work. So I did a lot of studies through the church. I've been to, they bring some of the tutors from, watch me forget the name of this college now. There's a big college in Great Britain just for psychic mediums and so on. So I've had trance mediumship, I've had healing mediumship, I've done a lot of work, and I'm pretty good, but I don't like the idea of making money on it.
Yeah.
And the longer I'm in this, and people would say to me, well, then it just devalues what you do. Well, if I have a gift and I can say something that's going to make somebody feel connected to somebody that they've lost, or then I'm not going to charge. And then they kicked me out. Well, they said that I should resign. I was the president of the Spiritualist Church. We brought in the woman who the TV show The Medium was based on, Alison Dubois. And that was a nightmare, a political nightmare, because I worked for the federal government. I said, have we contacted immigration? Because we don't want to get in trouble for bringing somebody in. They thought that was just terrible that I was bringing this legal stuff up.
Yeah.
So I finally quit, and I said, look, I can't deal with this group of people. And it was years later that I went back. I still kept my hand in. If I'm in a store and I connect with somebody, I'll read their palms.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't often, because I don't want to charge for it.
Yeah.
People think because I don't charge for it, I'm not worth it. Since then, I've been scrolling through Facebook, and I see all this stuff about, oh, you have ADD, ADHD? Take the quiz and pay this money and we will fix it. Or it's just all this self-help crap that everybody wants to make money on. And I thought that's exactly what these mediums are doing.
Yeah.
They want the money. And if somebody comes to me, I used to read down at the Sparta Mercantile, and a couple of times I'd say, go and ask for your money back. Because the question they had asked is, will I ever meet my soulmate? That's fortune telling. I don't do that fortune telling stuff.
Yeah.
Or they couldn't, like you guys are having difficulty with these two women that are bonded, but not through family. They were very, very close. So, and probably 2 days from now, you'll think, oh, yes, of course I know who that is. But it's not happening now. So, yeah, it'll come to you, or one of you anyway. But I read all the books on spiritualism. I've read all the books on Wicca. I read the Bible countless times. I used to like it when the Jehovah's Witness would come because I talk to them and I go toe to toe with them about the Bible.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. But
At a supermarket yesterday, and as I was entering, this guy was like, had a shirt that had a nickname that I used to use for pool. I was called Mr. Excitement.
wow.
And he's like, and he comes up to me and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe I met Mr. Excitement. He's like, how's it going? I'm like, good. He's like, you believe in Jesus? And I'm like, oh, man, I want nothing more to sit here in this lobby and debate to you about Jesus, but unfortunately I gotta go get some meat. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I enjoy debating those people myself.
Yeah.
But
Just because I when I think about what's going on in the States,
Mhm.
it frightens me because he's, you know who I'm talking about.
God,
Trump.
close.
Yeah, okay. He's got all these people, I believe, let her send her to jail or whatever. What was that woman's name that he ran against?
Clinton?
Yes. She's called all his followers the basket of deplorables. And I can see how some people would say that, but I see that as the same kind of thing that these Greek women weren't eating meat for 2 weeks because somebody told them not to eat meat for 2 weeks. They just don't have the capability of seeing past some of what's happening. So, but yeah, I've been doing it for a long, long time. I do, somebody in university asked me if I'd come and see if her apartment was haunted. I said, sure. No idea what I was doing. But I went through and I don't feel any energy here. I often have people going up and down my stairs here, like spirit.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So let's, I just want to get a bit more into your life. You said you started reading palms as a psychic around 20?
22.
22. And then when did you realize, because some of the viewers might not know like the difference between a psychic and a medium. I'm guessing the medium can see spirits.
not necessarily. A
Okay.
medium is someone who can connect from somebody who's already passed. They're already on the other side.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, a medium will talk about them. They want confirmation that who they think they have is who they have. Like the fellow who said, I realized it was my brother, and I realized that he wanted me to wear my seatbelt. That's confirmation. That made perfect sense to that guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't say to that guy, I think you're going to be moving to a new house soon. That would be psychic.
Yeah.
If you can look at somebody and tell them that, if I looked at you and said, I get a feeling that you've got an allergy to cats, that's psychic.
Psychic.
Right. Dealing with the other side is mediumship. And not everybody can see them. There's so many voyants, right? There's the clairvoyant, the clairsentient, the clairvoyant, clairsentient, auditory, they hear them. I've only heard them once, and it was right after the tsunami in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And I just heard a bunch of people crying. When I was in my 20s, I would go to bed at night and I would hear in my head people arguing. And it wasn't until I became interested in mediumship that I understood these people were trying to get my attention. But I didn't know enough to tell them to slow down or to come back in the morning. You know? So there's a lot involved. There's a lot
Can
of.
you see them? Or
When I was younger, I could see them, but they didn't talk to me then either. I could see them, and I would freak out. What the hell? But then you'd get a sense of, well, they're not doing anything, they're not moving, they're not hurting me. But now I mostly just, I sense them,
okay.
and I think they call it clairvoyant, when you just know they're there.
Okay.
There's a knowing, okay? Like I knew today that I was getting these two women. They might even be back in your family tree. Well, one of them is for sure. But they were bonded maybe somebody in the war, somebody your parents might remember.
Maybe before my time. Yeah.
Maybe, possibly. But I had that visual in my head, and I didn't really tune in to find out what they wanted to say.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
What else? It's a long, I've lived a long time. I think organized religion now is more about the money and the power
Yeah.
than about actually feeding the soul.
So let's get into a bit more religion. Like, do you what do you believe in religion?
I posted something online about an omnist. An omnist, or is somebody who believes that every religion offers something good for the soul,
Okay.
but they're not going to sign up with any organized clan or religion. They're not going to be a Roman Catholic. They're not going to be an Orthodox Jew. They just pick and choose what fits for them, and that makes way more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of these people that watch the signs, the natural signs. Do you have any clue what I'm talking about? Like the moon.
Yeah.
Garth, I'll tell you a story. Garth is a Cancer. He was born on the 29th of June, which is the sign of Cancer.
Okay.
They are ruled by the moon, which means he is very volatile. Sometimes he's in a great mood, and other times he's not.
Wow.
It all depends. He's very, very sensitive. He's more sensitive even than I. He could make a fortune at this if he ever decided to look into it. And I know he believes in it, or he wouldn't have told you about me. He used to bring friends in here and ask me to read for them.
Okay.
And he used to love it when I made them cry. But yeah, he's very sensitive. So I watch the moon. I do pay it. We don't anymore. This is an ancient way. This is what the ancients did. They watched the moon. They watched the tides. They watched things around them.
Yep.
Different animals mean different things. If you see, I saw 5 dragonflies the other day. So I have to look that up and find out what that means.
Yeah.
I believe in everything. I'm covering all my bases. But I don't believe that Jesus died for our sins. I don't believe in hell.
Do you believe when it comes to like the Bible? Do you believe that? Because there's like different variations and stories, like depending on like who you speak to. But like in Christianity, Jesus was God in human form.
Yes.
If you talk to like Middle East people that more go with the Quran, Jesus was just a fortune teller, kind of like Muhammad. Right? So, what do you believe in? Like, do you believe that there is a God? Is Jesus the Son of God, or do you believe in another God?
I believe that we are all children of God, but I can't put a face to God.
Okay, so you don't.
And I do believe that there is years ago when we were little kids, I learned that angels have no sex. They're neither boys nor girls.
Okay.
And I believe that's what God is. He's this energy that contains everything, the masculine, the feminine. When I cross over, I will not think like a female. When you cross over, you will not think like a male. You won't think in any way carnally. You will have been enlightened. It will just be your pure spirit, your energy, and it won't have a gender.
Yeah.
You know, one of the 72 genders they have discovered amongst us. We won't think that way. Yeah, really. We won't think about money. We will only think about being. And none of this makes any sense to spirit at all. They understand living in a human body.
Yeah.
They understand the physical world, but it means nothing to them. I think the love that they have for their children, they remember. That's why sometimes you get messages from these people, right?
Okay.
And I don't believe they're going to give you messages like, it's time for a tune-up on your car. Okay?
Yeah.
They don't care about that stuff. That's meaningless to them.
Yeah.
They might say, you're ignoring your physical body. You need to take more care with your with your health.
Mhm.
Okay? They won't say, you've got money coming. That's
More important messages.
way more important
Yeah, for
than
sure.
anything on this physical earth plane. Yeah. Like when that fella told me that he's not using safety equipment. That was for his protection.
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy. But it came to me and I gave it. One of the rules, these old people, they're all gone now, that started the London Spiritualist Church, would say, stick to the basics. Give it as you get it. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to decipher it for anybody. Just give it as you get it. If I suddenly got a cherry pie, I couldn't say to you, somebody used to make you cherry pies. I would say, I'm being shown a cherry pie.
Yeah.
It's up to you to figure out whether that means anything
For
to
sure.
you. Yeah. So I believe that in a supreme force,
Okay.
like may the force be with you kind of thing. We're such babies in this this game of life. Like, may the force be with you. That meant so much to me when I saw that movie. I thought, that's exactly it. It's a force. It's not some old man with a white beard on the Sistine Chapel. It's a force.
To be honest with you, like, for me, it was, I was always fascinated. Like, I remember in grade 5, I remember going to my school library, and I got this book, and I saw a picture of a lady, it was like a ghostly figure walking down the stairs, and I have that vivid picture in my mind from like when I was young, right? And I was always into like horror movies, you know, scary stuff, right? So that's kind of what got me into it, and I kind of fell out in my teenage years because other stuff took more precedence, right? And then when my grandmother passed away, I basically tried to make contact, right? And I didn't really get anything. And I really just sat back and really evaluated how my life had gone until that point. And I realized that not that it was like bad overall, and obviously I made my own mistakes, but I realized that if there was really a God, because I'm Christian Orthodox, right? There really was a God, he really didn't care about us, right? So
Yeah.
it's just easier to believe that there wasn't a God, right? So I kind of started getting into science at that point a lot more, right? And like trying to figure out the universe and all that. And I was always really big into mythology, right? So I got to study Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, a little bit of Roman mythology to see their gods and stuff, right? So it was just always a passion of mine. So when I started talking to Sean about the idea, right? I've wanted to do it for years, right? And just, I wouldn't say it never felt right, but it was just like, it seemed like the people around me that I wanted to bring with me just weren't really the people that wanted to do that style of stuff, right? So when I told Sean my idea, and he really got behind it, I was like, all right, so obviously you're the person I'm supposed to deal with to kind of put this thought into like reality, right? So, but yeah, ideally, I do want to believe, right? I want to find something. I want to see something, right? And that's the plan in the long run. But until that happens, I guess we'll just have to hope that.
Yeah.
It's just like I find like with the YouTube world, right? Obviously, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, right?
Yes.
You know, it's video. People post videos up every day and they have to like, okay, it's an hour-long video or an hour and a half or 2 hours, right? Like they have to make it look interesting enough for you to sit there and watch, right? It's like a movie, like basically, right? But there's a lot of people that believe that it's real life, right? You know what I mean? It's not a movie, it's real life, right? So I bank on like the fact that if it gets to the point where I see something that I can't refute, then I can start sharing the knowledge of like it is real, right? Like
I understand.
and I think that's kind of what I want with the whole thing. But obviously, at the same time, it's also fun, you know. Like,
It's lots of fun. Yeah.
You know, going to haunted places, you don't know what you're gonna see, what you're gonna hear, and it's also creative, right? John does a great job with the editing part and makes it look really cool. And you know, we get there and we're like, what can we do to make this video even better than the last one, right? So it's a creative process, and hopefully along the way we actually find out the truth, right? And that's kind of what we're hoping for. But
it would be lovely. I think the truth is going to be a big surprise for all of us. I do, and we won't know until it's over there.
But yeah, and
because God, the God that we grew up with, we sang all those songs. You know, God sees a little sparrow fall. Something about his tender, meets his tender view. If God so loved the little ones, why wouldn't he love you too? Like, we were raised to believe in a loving God.
Yeah.
But the older you get and the more you know about the world, you know that that's not the case.
Yeah.
If there was a loving God, why would we have addicts and homeless people all over the place?
Yeah. And to be honest with you, even in Christianity or religion, like the Old Testament, God was very wrathful.
He was a jerk, eh? Yeah.
He was pretty wrathful, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it got to the point where it's like when like they brought out the Bible and they kind of went to the New Testament, they kind of wanted to take away his like flaws, right?
Reputation.
Like you look at like in the Old Testament you have Adam and Eve, right? Which were considered the first two people on earth, right? And they had 74 kids or something. I can't remember the exact number, but they got together and they started. So incest was very, very popular in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And then at some point, towards the New Testament, they took out incest, right? Very bad, right?
Because people were learning.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and then of course other stories that like that are older, like Mesopotamia time, like which was like about 2,000-3,000 years before Christianity, right? Christianity period, like Old Testament, like not even before Christ, like 5,000 years before Christ, right? So they had like we were just actually watching a video not too long ago, the epic tales of Gilgamesh.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
that sounds good.
Gilgamesh was the fifth king, I want to say, of Mesopotamia, and he had a story where Gilgamesh was like half god, basically. He was like half god, half human kind of thing. And he had the time the goddess of love had approached him to have kids, and he turned her down. So she got angry and told her father, who was the king of the gods, and he had sent the what was it called, the bull of the gods, I think, or something, which was like basically their winning soldier, basically, like a bull of the gods, right? To kill him, right? And they fought for like 5 days or something, and they couldn't beat each other, so they became friends. And that angered the king of the gods even more. So he ended up sending another soldier down to battle him, and Gilgamesh's friend got brutally injured and was about to die, right?
Yeah.
So he set on a journey to find I'm gonna probably butcher this name, but a guy named Ipetitian, I want to say, which was technically the first Noah version of Noah.
Okay.
Right? So he had survived the flood, and God saved him, basically, same as he did with Noah, right? So he was immortal, technically, right? So he sent out to find him to figure out how he could save his friend. And after he did find him, he said, "Only God can save your friend." Right? So, but it's just funny that a lot of the similarities, like Iptisham, which was Noah, basically, he survived the flood.
Yeah.
A lot of the storylines are very similar, right? So it's interesting to know, like, what did Christianity take and change, and what is really their stories, right? Like, did they just take that story from somewhere else and just change a few names?
They had to, exactly.
Right? And another thing, actually, what we're attempting to do. So we're in our second season now for paranormal investigation, and we're ending the season with there's a haunted forest out in the Critters Lane. It's by Woodstock area.
Yeah.
So we went there. That was our last episode for season 1, but we're going there for season 2 as our last episode, and we're attempting to summon the demon. Right?
Okay.
So it's interesting because Sean obviously is a believer. So when I brought him this idea, he was very opposed to it. I'm like,
I can understand
it's something that not a lot of people have tried, right? And not a lot of people have executed on the internet. So it's something for us to definitely aim for, like, our popularity. But at the same time, it's something to prove to people that it's all depending on, like, what you believe, right? So the demon we're trying to summon is Beelzebub.
Okay.
Right. So if you believe in Christianity, he's the Lord of the Flies, one of the 7 fallen angels from heaven, and second to Satan, or Lucifer, right? But if you believe in Mesopotamia times, which was prior to Christianity,
right,
he was the Lord of Healing.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I mean?
Really? Yeah.
So it's like, it's really depending what you believe in,
Yeah.
of, like, what you're gonna get. So,
do you ever use a Ouija board?
yes, on all of them.
Yeah? Okay, I'll make a deal with you.
What's that?
I'll do it with you.
Okay.
People who don't understand spirit should never play with Ouija board. Because a friend of mine, as a teenager, they were playing with a Ouija board, and one girl actually levitated off her chair.
Well, that's what we want on camera.
Oh, so you're looking for mischievous spirit.
We're looking for anything. As I said, like, I'm a non-believer,
You're ready?
but I want to believe.
Okay.
So I need to find that, right? Like, I want to have beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's proof. It really comes down to, like, I understand I'm getting older, and I got maybe half my life's pretty much over. You know what I mean? So I want to know, is there something after here, or am I just going to be dirt on the ground right
I got a lot more time invested in this bullshit thing called life than you do. And I've been looking, and I've been looking, and I've tried this, and I've tried this, and I've tried this, and I've tried this. To me, the bottom line is, it's going to be a surprise for all of us,
For sure.
right? But I think if you can tap into your own soul, okay? Like, science has proven that there's a 2.7 gram.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay? So they've decided that must be the soul. A lot of the meditations that we do, we talk about going into that, sitting in the power is what we call it, and actually listening to your soul. And it's pretty cool. Meditation is key for anybody who wants to change their vibrations. And in order to contact spirit, you have to change your vibrations. Okay? One woman described it as mediums are like the telephone. We're the telephone. Okay? So spirit comes through, and they want to talk through the phone to somebody. Okay? But if my phone if it's not on the same channel or on the same line, it's not going to get through. So there's different levels of vibrations.
For sure.
Meditation will help change your vibration. Do you meditate?
When I was young.
Okay.
I haven't done that.
Have you listened to any of the guided meditations? Okay. no, you're just like a babe in the woods here. Because you have to be able to feel. I went to a pagan gathering years ago, and I saw little people. I was playing the drum. I was hammered, playing the big drum, and they taught me to, I love peanut butter, I love jam. And I don't know what they were giving us to drink, but we had a huge big fire. And pagans, you can actually say that pagans could be considered hedonists, because they believe in the earth. They believe in, yeah. So, and I literally saw little people, 6 of them, listening to my I love peanut butter, I love jam. Freakiest thing that ever happened to me. Now, the only thing I think is that these vibrations were, every culture's had fairies and dragons. That's a question that everybody should say. How is that? Where did they go? They must have been here somewhere. Where did they go?
Again, that is based on like what you believe, right? I got into a few years back really big into jinn.
Yes.
Right, and again, jinn is basically like, what do you believe in? Like, what description of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, of what happened to them. So like, again, Christianity with jinn was like, jinn were basically like the first humans, right? The first interpretation of humans that God created after the angels, right?
Okay.
But they went rogue, and there was a big war between the angels and the jinn, and the angels won, and basically almost kind of put them in a different, not timeline, but like a parallel universe.
Okay.
Right? And then basically God restarted with humans.
Okay.
Right?
So I think that's really cool.
It's really depending on like what you believe, and if you go with like Quran, which are really big on the jinn, right? They have a total different belief, right, of how and what happened to them, right?
Yeah, I haven't read the Quran. I'd like to. I should.
I haven't really read into the Quran. A lot of the videos that I really like to watch and follow that are performed by people that have more knowledge than me.
Yes.
Are videos that kind of get into the meat of things, you know? Like, like if I'm gonna sit here and watch a 3-hour video on this, like, I don't want to fall asleep, right? Like,
I don't want small talk.
Exactly.
I want the meat and the potatoes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's kind of like what I like to kind of. All right, show me the action. I'll let you know.
Did you ever see the video on, or the movie, I guess, on Lilydale?
Lilydale?
Yes. Please don't tell me you've never heard of Lilydale.
Oh, I might have.
Oh my God. It's the seat of spiritualism in the United States.
Okay, no, I don't think I have.
Lilydale, New York. You're kidding me, man.
Get him. Is that the movie name? Lilydale?
No, well, maybe it is. But Lilydale, New York, it's a whole. You have to be a medium to reside there. They've got rules and regulations.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think I've heard of this place.
Okay, it used to be. If you're interested in spirit, you have to, or ghosts, whatever you want to call them, because somebody would say, well, where do reincarnation? The subject of reincarnation is a really big deal.
Yeah.
Well, there's been so many billions of people on the earth. Where do they all go? And Sylvia Brown says, well, their spirit goes to different planets. I find that a stretch for me, but I don't know. We're told this universe is like this big thing, but how do we know we're not all ants in a bottle? We don't know.
I guess.
Yeah, the search is fun.
Right.
But I think the thing for everybody to do, if they want to know about the supernatural or the paranormal or religion, the force, may the force be with you. Force is in here. And you know that if you meditate. Were you meditating for a purpose back in the day?
I used to like meditating just to relax, for the most part. And then I tried again when I was in my early 20s after my grandmother passed away. Yeah. For the connection purposes.
Yeah.
And after
how long did you meditate?
when I was 15 to 16, I'd say I would usually do it about 3 times a week for like half an hour to an hour.
And you weren't interrupted and you didn't get monkey mind.
No.
That's excellent.
Pretty calm when I want to
You
be,
could
right?
empty your mind of your thoughts.
Yeah, at that point in time it was easy. I didn't really have much trouble in my life, right?
Well,
now it'd be a lot tougher, you know. It's like, I got bills to pay.
they have a
My
meditation
car
class.
needs to get fixed.
Well, I know.
I got no money.
It's terrible.
So
Yeah, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
But I couldn't meditate. What sign are you?
I'm a Taurus.
Taurus.
Yeah.
Earth sign.
Very,
Big
apparently hard-headed.
skeptic. Well, and stubborn as hell, but
Yeah.
you're really into money.
I'm really into money.
You're really into money.
It's pretty easy when you don't have it. Like, I need money. I gotta pay my bills. So
You should. Okay.
there was a point in time when I had money
Yeah.
that I wasn't into money. You know what I mean? Like when I was like 17, for reasons that will go unnamed in the video because it's going up on YouTube, I had a good amount of money, and every weekend I would be out with my friends and I'd be buying bottles and I'd be like paying. So I was spending like $400 or $500 a week back then, like no problems because I had loads of money, right? But now that you
That
have bills
phase
to
of your
pay,
life is over.
now you got bills to pay and you don't have any money, you need the money.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
That's the unfortunate part.
But I think you're good with money.
Am I
Whatever
good?
money you have, you should be good with it. My sister,
I'm about $25,000 in debt, so I'm pretty
well,
sure.
yeah, but my sister checks her bank account every morning.
Right.
I've been to the casino with this woman in Las Vegas, and she'll open her wallet and start counting her money in front of everybody. She's obsessed with money.
Oh, I'm not obsessed with money. I'm not like that.
Where are you on the Taurus spectrum? What?
April 28th.
April 28th.
I think that's
Yeah,
like
you're too
towards
close
the-
to the other side, I think. Are you right-handed?
Yep.
Let me see your right hand. Oh, you've had 2 lives. You've had 2 lifestyles so far. Yeah. Okay. This is your right. You're right-handed.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so you had some shit going on earlier, and you actually you started over.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to say that this time it's not as easy. Okay? This reincarnation of your lifestyle is not as easy for you as the last one was.
Well, as I said, right, like with no money nowadays compared to
Yeah.
when I was younger, it's definitely a lot harder.
I think you're intelligent. I also think you're never going to be a poet. You're not a feeling kind of sensitive kind of guy.
Definitely not.
We'll check yours later. Yeah, you want hard facts. You don't want fluff. You're not a fluffy guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's hear it again. That's your destiny. This is your potential. Okay, I see a little bit of a softening here, but not much. And I want to say that you went through some shit that toughened you up.
You say that?
Okay. I don't think I'm sensing something here that is, you have a fear of loosening up, of showing sensitivity, I don't know why.
Towards others, is that what you mean? Or
Sorry?
towards others, or
Towards others and even towards yourself. There's a fear that you're holding something inside that you don't want to let go of.
you could be right in a way.
Okay.
I won't lie that I cry myself to sleep a lot of times, but
Okay. I can see this here, and you do have some sensitivity, but you hold it really, really in there. Okay? And I think what would do you well is finding someone that you can open this up to.
yeah.
Okay.
There's been a few people
Good.
that I've opened
Good.
up to.
Okay, now this is going to sound stupid from somebody who does not believe in religion per se, but we all know what the word forgiveness is about. Okay? And I think that needs to be a word that you use a lot. Forgiveness, not just for those people, but for yourself.
Okay.
Okay, you take a lot of blame for whatever this bullshit is.
Yeah.
You take a lot of this on yourself, and it wasn't all you. So you have to, forgiveness, I want you to really fire that up in your head. That forgiveness, even if you never ever want to even deal with any of this shit again, forgive, because then you can get past it. Even if you have to purge every day, because you're holding something in that is not helping you.
I know that.
Okay? So purge. And I tell people, if you have to purge every morning, you know, like, good morning, asshole, this is how we're going to deal with this today. Because we've all got these things, but with you, it's really in there, baby. It's in there. So we can forgive all the people that were involved. You know, I'm not going to be specific here, but you have to forgive yourself too. You really, even if you do have to do it every day. Yes, I'm an asshole, but today's going to be different. Okay? Does that make sense to you?
In a way.
Okay.
There was something in my life that I hold dearly.
Yeah.
A mistake I made.
Okay.
But it definitely changed my life to what it is now.
Okay.
And
there were others involved, yes?
2 other people.
Okay.
It's something that I would say I'll never forgive myself for, because I feel that if I forgive myself for it, I'll go back to that life.
Okay.
It's something that I need to make sure that
it doesn't happen again.
it stays in my memory.
Right. So forgiveness doesn't mean forget. Okay?
No, I
Forgive,
understand that.
yes.
Yeah, no,
Because
I understand.
whatever led you to that point in time,
But the thing is, it was my fault. Right?
and that's okay too.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, but
But
just
I
because
use
you
that
forgive
now.
yourself for whatever that was,
Yeah.
doesn't ever mean, does not give you permission to go back and do it again.
No, I understand.
Forgiving your youth, whatever bullshit it was, whatever created the situation, you forgive that stuff about yourself, and just know that you're never, ever, ever going to put anybody through that again. You're not going to go through that again.
Yeah.
You can do this. You can do it, even if it's every day. Okay? Because there's something really good in you, something brilliant that's really sparkling down there, and
Trying to get out.
you're holding it really tight.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been a person that thinks like you should live with your mistakes.
Absolutely. Nobody's going to absolve you of this.
No, I know.
But I don't believe in hell. And I think it's stupid for anybody to believe in hell.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, it's I don't believe in hell either. Right?
No.
So,
No.
but it's I feel like it's hard to put in words. You know what I mean? Like it's something I feel that if I let go and forgive myself, let's say, it's
You're afraid you're going to slip back.
it opens up the potential, right? Like if I feel like, all right, I forgave myself for the thing that happened, and down the road, if it happens again, it would just suck, right? So it's better if I keep it and remember it, that this is how the feeling of what happened, and I don't want to feel that again, right? So if I let that feeling go, I feel like it might come down.
Yeah, I understand.
Right? So,
I
yeah,
understand.
interesting. All right, and would you like to do this shot now?
Sure.
Yeah. A lot more interesting because obviously I hadn't told you about it.
Yep.
Right, so it was kind of interesting that you kind of felt that about me.
Okay.
So I'll say 6.
That's pretty good.
Alright, that one's on 14%, so we're
Okay.
to cut it off.
All right.
You right-handed?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that you're a little bit more sensitive than this fella. And again, you've had some shit in the past that has made you redefine who you are. Yes?
Yeah.
And you have a very clearly defined idea of who you are and where you want to go with that. That's one thing I didn't see on your palm was a fate line. You have a fate line here, but it's kind of sneaking around. It's like, I'm going to say that you're the kind of person who doesn't want to have a boss. You don't like having a boss. So what you have to do is you have to come in the back door sometimes so that you flit. Does that make sense to you? You flit?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You come in the back door, you take your money and you rent. Okay? So, you also have a lot of psychic ability of your own here. And I think that's, you often second guess your decisions, but you shouldn't. Because I think you've got a good hand on who you are and where you want to go with this, okay? And it's like, you don't miss anything. You're not missing anything in your life. So you don't have to go any harder than you're going. Does that make sense to you too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Okay. You do have sensitivity. When were you born?
April 7th, 1991.
So you are an Aries. Aries, fire sign. Fire and earth, how does that work out? Okay. Well, I'm a fire sign too. I'm a Sagittarian.
Okay.
Aries, I think Aries is the low-key fire sign of the three. Aries, of course, is the battler, the god of war, ruled by Mars. But you pick your battles now. Maybe you didn't in the past, but I think you pick your battles now. And you have better, you can better word your grievances or whatever than just, you're more thoughtful as an Aries than I would have put an Aries.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be a really funny guy too. You can be a really funny guy. You're not showing me that today, but you can be a really funny guy. Okay, let me see this other one. That's your destiny. Okay, so I see some more sensitivity here. Also, there's something here that you have to let go of too. And I'm going to show you so you'll know what's on your palm. Here and here. Okay, and I think there was a defining moment. I could have shown you on your palm too.
Yeah.
The two lines. You had a defining moment at some point earlier on that made you reevaluate the way you were living, the wants or needs that you had as opposed to, I want to say, reality. Okay, does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, you're very, very smart. I can see where the two of you kind of work this out. You have a lot of psychic ability as well. But I got a feeling that you kissed your earlier life goodbye. Like, you spit your early life goodbye. Okay? Like, done with that shit. And I think that's serving you well because it gives you a better sense of who you are and who you can become, who you will become. Not so much striving, it's just going to evolve. Does that make sense to you? Okay? So out of 1 to 10.
Like a lot of stuff is accurate. I would have to say I'd give like an 8.
Thank you.
Because there's a lot of stuff like when I used to live in like a small town and it was a very like I'd say kind of like drug and crime riddled small town, right? Like a lot of bad things went through there. When I got to the age that I was able to get out of there, I basically did go
Spit that old life goodbye, yeah.
Right, and then eventually my family moved with me from that area, so there was really no need to go back there, right?
Perfect.
So there's definitely some things that are bang on, some more things that are like generic that you could relate to multiple people. So that's why I'd say an 8 instead of a 10. But there's a lot of things that I felt like I could, even when I was doing like my hand is kind of like vibrating a little bit, just because like.
Well, and you could feel we're sharing energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know what any of those things mean.
Mm-hmm.
I've made up a little symbol, thing for myself, but
Yeah.
you're on a higher vibration because you're not protecting yourself as well as, like, he's really protecting it, right? Do you have any questions about, like, what information would you like me to give you about your future? Who's Margaret? There's a Margaret here.
I personally don't know anyone by that name unless it's back farther in my family than I'm aware of. But there's a lot of things, and I don't want to, like, I kind of want to leave this open for another reading in the future,
Yes,
right? So I don't want to
absolutely.
spill too much.
No.
But there's a lot of things constantly going on, whether it's this thing and then this settles down and something, like, there's always something going on, right? So I don't want to spill too much, but there's always things that I'm looking for answers for, right? So
yeah.
But I appreciate it.
No, that's good. People who have some sort of intelligence are always looking for answers, and they understand that their truth will change. Black is black and white is white, but if you don't look at the gray, you're not learning anything. So that's
Exactly.
good.
Thank you.
You're
appreciate
welcome.
So for closing, there's something Sean had brought up earlier to me. What would you tell little girls or boys that may have this gift and they don't know exactly what it is? Like, what would you tell them, like, to do to inspire them, kind of thing?
I would tell anybody not to be afraid. Don't be afraid. Except for you little monster. We control the spirit world in the earth plane, and I've had to tell them to get out of here a couple of times. Garth and some of us were doing Ouija one day. Yeah. That's a hard thing to do because they can be very mischievous. And see, what is it? And there was somebody that came through and they wouldn't tell us, they didn't give us any information. And finally I said, okay, get the hell out of here. If you're not prepared to talk to us, get the hell out. You're not wanted here. And after everybody went home, there was a symbol in the dust on the television that I'd never seen before. So, and some people can be really afraid of that. It always bothers me when people say, oh, it's a ghost, Don't be afraid of them. Just if you're uncomfortable, tell them to get out. Or words to that effect. But don't let anybody, they have to find their tribe. Whoever has this kind of ability or thinks they have this kind of ability, they will find people who are similar and they will feel more comfortable. It's hard when you're a kid because, When I was 9 years old, I wrote out a whole Christmas service that I wanted my family to do. And they thought I was nuts. You're either born spiritual or you're not. You either want that something in your life or you don't. And you keep looking for the answers. Yeah, because we're not in a world that allows for this kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Okay? So I think it's getting easier for some children now. They've got the Indigo Kids and much better in Europe. But just to not be afraid and it'll all work out. And not to let anybody dim their shine.
Well, I think that's it. Sean, any questions? Any final thoughts?
No, I enjoyed my experience, and I just wanted to say that, like, hopefully if you're open to it, us touching base with you once in a while, because I feel very, very comforting with the info that you're able to give us. Absolutely. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like I'd be able to come here and ask you questions about things that we were going to do or things that we came across of, and You're gonna give us a straight up answer, right? So
Well, I will tell you, I don't think it's a good idea to summon a demon.
that's what I said.
That's okay. I'll be summoning them. You'll just be filming.
Do you have take a whiteboard with you or a blackboard and some chalk,
Okay.
okay? Because physical mediumship is like really hard. But I've got a feeling if you're going to summon somebody who is a darker entity, that they might be able to put something on a blackboard or a whiteboard for you.
Again, this is really depending on like
You
what
know how
you
to
believe.
protect
right?
yourself too.
Power of my thoughts.
Good. What about you, Sean? You want a little circle of protection?
Yeah, I need everything I can get.
But yeah.
White light of protection coming down, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really I find, as I said earlier, right? It's really depending on like what you believe, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, in Christianity we're summoning a demon, but if you go prior to Christianity, we're actually summoning a human god.
Exactly.
So I guess we're gonna find out when it happens.
Yeah, but I think it's a really good idea. Or sometimes we used to do meditations with a crystal bowl with water in it. And there were 3 of us there because you do need that energy. You need more than just one person's energy
Yeah.
to be able to bring this. And they do have a meditation class at the London Spiritualist Church on Thursday nights. I think it's $5. But I've often thought I'd like to get a meditation circle together for the purposes of bringing spirit in. So if you're interested in that too, that's something that I wouldn't.
That's something to look into.
Yeah, these Parsons chairs are perfect. You never meditate laying down. No, you sit.
So yeah, we were actually I've been doing a lot of research on this for the last 6 months, I think now. I found a few people online that supposedly have summoned Beelzebub and gotten the incantation and like all the stuff that I properly need. So we got a sheet which will end up making a inverted pentagram on it. We need 4 black candles, which we need to basically design Beelzebub's sigil in. Another thing they said is have offerings for him. Any kind of offerings, alcohol, candy, chocolate, and basically the incantation, which I've surprisingly
What
have
were you
seen.
researching, Steve, when you...
How do I research?
What particular source did you get all this information from?
So there's a few people on YouTube that supposedly deal with like witchcraft.
The dark arts. No, that's not witchcraft. That's the dark arts.
Okay. So I'll go through their channels and I'll start seeing like similarities, right? Because I find with researching this, like especially the incantation was really hard to find.
Did you have to pay for it?
No.
Okay.
There was different ones.
Mm-hmm.
People would change a little bit here, a little bit there, and it was like, okay, do all these work, or is it just like, or aren't some of these actually people like summoning stuff, right? So what I do is when I find one, and then I find a second one, and then I find a third one, and I find a fourth one, and then the 5th one matches the first one. I'm like, okay, I got 2 of the same ones here, and then the 6th one will match the first one. Okay, I got 3. And once I find like 4 or 5, I'm like, okay, this must be it.
Okay,
And
that's
now I
good.
found 4 or 5 people that said the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Then I go online, Google, type in, check out old books, people that might have stuff on Reddit and stuff like that, and then I see what they say. Like, it's very hard to find the same stuff because, as I said, everybody has their own views on it, right? So
Yeah.
with having your own views on it, something changes in the incantation or something
Yeah, absolutely.
changes in the layout. Like there was one person that says all you need is 2 white candles, and you just set them on fire and you have your hands over the candle and you say the incantation. And there was one person that had 3 black candles and a red candle. And there was most of the people said black candles. So I'm like, okay, we'll just get 4 black candles. And
Good.
then I went online, got a sigil, photocopied it. So we have a sigil. And basically, I'm just going to go to the dollar store, grab a platter, and put a sigil there. A little bit of offering for him. Chocolate apparently is a big one. He likes chocolate. So we get a Kit Kat or something.
I really need you to let me know how this goes.
I will.
Okay.
I will. And I'll tell you the truth. We'll definitely tell you.
Perfect.
But again, like, I don't personally believe anything will happen.
No.
I don't know what Sean personally believes.
Sean's probably crapping his pants.
Yeah.